Hey guys, this is Ryan with Mom on Mission, and today I'm going to bring you our quarter one update for the 2019-2020 school year. 2020 still sounds weird. Does it sound weird to anyone else? It's coming up fast, but it still just sounds really weird to me. We just got back from the pumpkin patch, so I'm having that second cup of coffee today. Um, but I thought I would share with you how this school year has been going and kind of, I'm not going to hit every single subject for both kids. But I thought I would just kind of give you a brief overview of what's working well, what's not doing so great, um, and just hit the high points on both my kids. So for my first grader, he is yet again this year speeding through math. He just loves it. He gets it. His brain is just wired that way, I guess. That's just his thing. Um, so I have just been letting him do his thing. They just introduced this past week or maybe 2 weeks ago time test. We use Saxon for math, and I don't even think they tell us really to put a timer on them. But he's seen his brother do time tests, so he has asked for a timer to be put on him. So he's been doing that and enjoying it. I always hated those things growing up, and so I try to be really lenient with my kids on those, but he seems to really like them. So he's been just really flying through math and loving it. He's reading even more fluently than he was at the beginning of the school year, which is great. Phonics is one of his least favorite subjects. He just doesn't really get excited about it. But once he's in doing it, he does really well. We're about halfway through our phonics curriculum. It's a 2-year curriculum, and I kind of started it a little bit in kindergarten, just real loosely, and then I planned to work through it this school year and into second grade if need be. But I think, he's a really young first grader, so if we had to go into second grade, it wouldn't be that big a deal. But I think we'll probably finish it by the end of the school year. So he's reading pretty well, and we have been doing a little bit of narration. I'll just read him a short picture book and then just have him tell it back to me, a condensed version of what happened in the story, just to build that confidence when it comes to actually writing later. We do handwriting, of course, but when it comes to actually writing paragraphs and stuff later on. So for my third grader, he is enjoying grammar a little more this year, which is a big plus. He didn't really like it that much last year, but this year they've kind of I've incorporated some worksheets with it, so he can actually read along with me and participate a little more, so it's a little more hands-on and less just me talking to him. And writing, we're still trying to figure this out. I don't think this is ever going to be his favorite subject. I've said that in updates before, but it's kind of a necessary skill. So I'm kind of figuring out how much I need to just kind of ease off of it and how much he's just going to have to kind of grin and bear it and just realize that, there's some things that are going to be hard and not very fun, and we got to do them anyway. So hopefully next quarter update I will have more to say on that, but I did get really convicted by some things I was listening to at a mom's group I was at, and I'm not being as forceful with writing, but it's still got to get done. So we'll see if we end up changing the curriculum or just changing maybe how we're using the curriculum that we have, which is Writing with Ease. Level 3, I believe we're on. 2 or 3. I don't know. We're doing Writing with Ease, though. And so we might either just switch up kind of how we've been using that, or we might try something else out. I really hate switching curriculum, though, so I don't know. We'll just see what happens. Just by me easing off, I've noticed he is giving a little less kickback, so we'll see if that helps. And then we have tweaked his math. I started noticing that he was saying he didn't like math anymore, and that used to be one of his favorite subjects, which Saxon, I do feel like third grade, it's kind of amplified the amount of work that's asked of you. So I was like, why don't you like math? And then I realized that he was just not liking that it was taking so long. It wasn't really the work itself. and he really wasn't liking um, so much book work and tests and all that. So what we have done is kind of tweaked, and if I start going through the lesson, I'll ask him a couple sample questions, and if he knows it, we don't go into the in-depth teaching of it. If he knows it, we just move on. And I didn't do this before. I was very much, we read every single part and do every single example, and I think that was draining him and it was wasting my time. So I think by taking out any unnecessary um, teaching of things that he already knows, that has helped a lot. And we've kind of tweaked his time tests and stuff like that to where they don't seem to be as daunting for him. So I think we're making good strides on him liking math again. And then for both of my kids together, these are subjects that we do together. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I will say that in our morning basket, I have mentioned that we started off with 6 weeks of art, and we did art history, studied famous artists, look at their works, and then tried to replicate them in some way. And that went over really well. My boys got really, really into that. I'll try to insert a few clips here of some of the things that they made during the study. Then our next 6 weeks, right now we're in the middle of our nature um, study. So we're doing 6 weeks of nature now, and then we'll do 6 weeks of music study. But for nature, I tend to um, let them just go outside and explore and talk about the things we see and hear and whatever. We're using these little printable journals that just help them know what they're looking for and really taking time to observe the little things. And then I also have been checking out library books where we did like a week on birds for our state. Right now we're doing plants. We did, I can't remember what the first week was, but basically each week I'm trying to kind of take a little bit of a different aspect of nature and study that more in depth. And they are loving that. And then geography, they are loving it this year. We are doing Galloping the Globe, and I just use it kind of as a loose guide. I don't use all the recommendations that they have by any means, but we're just checking out lots of books from the library, watching YouTube videos, and doing a little bit of hands-on stuff, doing a lot of map work, and they're just having a lot of fun with it. This week we were studying about Japan, and they got really into the whole samurai thing, and it's been so much fun. I'm really glad that we picked up that curriculum. And then last but not least, I was really nervous about our science this year. We're doing chemistry and physics through Apologia, and that is one of my least favorite subjects. And I'm like, man, I really wish we could do this when they were older, but our co-op was doing it, so I'm like, you know what, let's just try it out. And it's actually not been so bad. I still will say it's not one of my favorite subjects. Like as I'm teaching it, I'm having to like slow it down just for myself to understand it, like atoms and ions and electrons and neutrons and protons, all that stuff. Like it's just not where my brain likes to be. So I have to really zoom in and focus just for myself. But my boys are liking it, and our co-op does all of the experiments and demonstrations that Apologia has in their book, so I don't have to do those at home, which is great. So I'll teach something, and then a week or two later they will go and do those experiments in co-op and then come home and tell me about it. And then we can kind of be like, oh, remember why that reaction happened? It was because of, and it kind of serves as a review. And I don't have to make my kitchen a mess, and I don't have to buy all those supplies and take time out of our day to do that. So that's been a huge blessing, and they've really been enjoying it. So just in general, our routine has kind of been jostled a little bit. The first 3 weeks of school sailed by smooth, and it was great, and I was just so excited for the school year. And we had a really good rhythm and routine going. And then after that, it kind of went downhill. And yeah, there's been a lot of bumps in the road as far as routine goes. But I'm trying to find that balance between flexibility, um, but still having a routine, not being so flexible that it's just whatever happens, happens, but not getting jostled every time we have something come up that wasn't in our plan. So, like today, we took time to go to the pumpkin patch with friends, and we had a great time. It was a beautiful day, and so, now we're quote unquote behind this week for school. But I mean, that's the kind of flexibility I'm learning to adapt to is, catch up where you can. And if you don't catch up, it's okay. Just keep going. We'll be good. So, um, and then, we have a 20-month-old, and he's just in that stage, man, where the terrible two tantrums have started. And my other boys, they didn't have terrible twos, they had terrible threes. This kid has terrible twos. So this is a whole new ball game for me. And just a side story, we got home from our co-op yesterday, and he slept very poorly the night before. Like I said, he's just been like all over the place. He's been waking up a lot at night, hence the second cup of coffee. And then we went to co-op, and that's usually his nap time. Well, he very rarely, if ever, I think maybe once, has napped at co-op. There's just too much going on, and he's too busy with the other kids. So he fell asleep on the ride home, which he always does. And I brought him inside, and he starts screaming. And it's time for dinner by this point. And so I'm trying to cook dinner. I try to offer him milk. I try to lay him down. I try to give him toys, try to give him his blankie, try to give him a snack. And he just is screaming bloody murder on the floor, kicking and hitting me, and acts like he wants me to pick him up. And as soon as I pick him up, he tries to jump out of my arms. And so this is the kind of stage we're in right now. Maybe your kids never did that, but and he's also at the stage where, he doesn't like to just be left to play. So when we're doing school, it's not like I can just put him in his room with his toys and he's happy. He wants to be in and part of the action. But he's also not in the stage where he can pay attention to much yet. So I'll get out the Play-Doh, or I'll get out crayons, or I'll get out, little, manipulatives that he can play with or whatever. And he's so excited to be at the table and use them and be up there with his brothers. And then 4 minutes later, he wants down, or he wants to start throwing everything all over the table and disrupting our learning. So it's just been a struggle. I mean, this is just that stage of life that it's simply a season, and it will pass, but it's just not been easy. And Mama's got to show some grace and just try to be a little more flexible and just roll with the punches a little better. So overall, it's been a great first 9 weeks of school. Yeah, we've just started our 10th week, but we've completed a full 9 weeks, and we really can't complain. It's not been exactly what I wanted it to be, but that's life, right? So anyway, I thank you for watching. How has your school year been going if you're a homeschool mom? And let me know, have you had any hiccups, or has everything gone according to plan, or what's going on in your house? So I thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.